Happy Self-Care Sunday. If you're new here, I'm Night and Belle. I do get ready with me's, unboxings, makeup reviews, shopping hauls, video game, and crafting, mainly diamond painting right now, content. If any of that sounds interesting, I would love it if you would hit that like and follow button below. But if you're new here, welcome. And by the way, this is a giveaway video. I do a giveaway. Right now they're quarterly, so we just started a new one that's going to be drawn on Black Friday, and you can enter once per video that I add to the giveaway, and I add stuff throughout the quarter. It can be stuff that I've gotten in previous boxes. It can be stuff, random, like, things. Like, there's all kinds of things that get added. There's a little something for everybody in the giveaway box. And you never know what all you're going to get. So usually when I was doing them over the course of a month, they would average about $150. The one I just finished was the summer giveaway, and it was closer, it was above $250. It was closer to $300. So these do get fairly decent sized. Keep watching the video and I'll tell you how to enter. That stuff I just sprayed is a new thing I'm trying that I got from the TikTok shop called Damage Therapy No Wash EX Grow With Us. And it is a leave-in conditioner. And it does make my hair a little bit greasy-ish, which is not my favorite thing, but if it works, I'm going with it. So I'm about to be out of my Skin & Co. Truffle Therapy Essential Toner. When I got this, I hated the smell of it with the Fiery Burning Passion, but the more I used it, the more I liked it. It's not the most gentle toner I have, but it's definitely one that I feel like makes my skin absorb less makeup and healthier. Like, I can see a difference when I use it, but it does cause some redness when I first put it on. But that's okay. It goes away quickly. And I have that type of skin that if you look at me wrong, it turns red. And part of how I fix that is I always follow it up with a little bit of other skincare. So today we're doing the Neptune Luna Nectar. I went like all in with the skincare last night. I did a whole peel off mask, everything. So my skin is incredibly soft. It really absorbed last night's retinol and what else did I put on it? Oh, the Element 8. Both of my Element 8 things. I can't tell you at all what the second one is. And the moisturizer from Skin Fix. And then I'm also using a little bit of the 111 Skin Vitamin C Brightening Booster, which you can already tell the redness is gone just from the Lunar. This just makes it even better. This one's almost gone, and this thing was freaking expensive, man. It came in my Icon box, and it cost like $150 for this little vial. I still, like, even a year into this, I wonder sometimes how much some of this actually works. But I will say I've got less lines than I had a year ago. Like, when I'm relaxing, I have no lines on my forehead. It doesn't take much to cause them. And my crow's feet have gotten significantly better. My under eyes are still poofy and baggy because I'm just not sleeping well right now. And I've got an appointment with my psychiatrist this week. So maybe she'll have some ideas of how to make my skin, or make my sleep less annoying. I haven't tried this Summer Fridays Rich Cushion Cream yet. I've only got enough to use once, so I guess today's the day. So I want to use it before it goes bad. See if there's even enough in here to do my whole face. Is there anything in here at all? There's not much in here. That's the entirety of what was in the package. Maybe even a little too much. I don't know. Yeah, a little too much. It's okay. What we do when we have too much skincare, we rub it on our necks. Because necks need self-care too. It's a very thick cream. I mean, it called itself a cushion cream. It's very thick. Don't like the smell. Not even a little bit. Totally fine, right? Right. We're going with it. I mean, my skin feels nice and soft. I'm going to use the Professional as my base today, which is not something I've done, but I have like an odd amount left. So we're just going to like all over. I'm using a different blender this time though, because I know this stuff is like really sticky and I don't want to get it all over my regular blender that I don't wash nearly as often as I should. It's more of a rub it in type thing. I'm curious what this will do as a foundation. I don't think it's meant to be used as one, so it's going to feel pretty thick. But that's okay. Yeah, there is way too much on this, on my hand left. We're just caking it on, man. Screw it. We're caking it on. It's definitely like going full cover foundation here. But I am not going to have any wrinkles when I'm done. And it matches my skin tone really well. But I feel like I just lost like 20 years. I forgot what I look like with no wrinkles. Now if only I could get rid of the grays this easily. Still have a ton left on my hand. I should probably not have done that. Scrape it off with a knife. I did not plan today to just talk about what I'm putting on my face. I didn't really plan for sure what else to talk about, and that's kind of the problem. I don't know what colors to do on my eyes. Okay, so we know we're not doing white, we know we're not doing brown, so that's removes 3. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 9. Orange. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 9. And purple. No, orange and blue, sorry. We are doing orange and blue today, which is almost, but not quite, our local high school colors. But okay, sure. Why not? I've been really into this blending, contrasting colors lately. So I'm curious how it looks with like a whole bunch of different combinations. And I can't wear it to work. I wish I still worked somewhere where I could, but I honestly don't know where that was. Like for a minute I thought Disney would have let me do this, and then I realized no. Disney very much would not have let me do this. Disney would have fired me for this crap. They would have sent me home without pay and said, fix it. Because I was not a costume performer, and even if I was a costume performer, they have very strict guidelines, like very, very strict. Yes, I used to work at Disney, and that kind of leads me into what I was going to talk about today, which was me working at Disney and how that came to be. So, I flunked out of college. That's my big, deep, dark, first of my 2 big, deep, dark secrets that nobody would guess about me by where I am now and my work ethic today. But see, I was one of the smart kids in high school. But I didn't want to do AP because I figured that very quickly was a whole lot of work for not much payout. And I did not have any desire to do that and spend my entire summer working on summer projects only to have them get graded. I got graded a D because I put too much of my faith into it. And I was a super Christian at the time. And the book I was assigned to read, I had some choices. One was A Prayer for Owen Meany, and I got as far as the shower scene, and if you know, you know, and decided this was not a book I cared to finish. Basically, the shower scene, he gets defecated on by all of his classmates. Nope, I'm good. I'm done. I did not want to read about that. I did not want to continue to read a book about that. Thank you anyways. So I switched. And I said, Mom, you gotta help me find a book that's not gonna be like super gross that I can get through. And she said, well, I always loved the movie Prince of Tides. Why don't you read the book? I said, okay. So I got the book Prince of Tides, and I spent the summer reading it. And I promise there's a story of how Prince of Tides made me a Disney cast member. I spent the summer reading it as we traveled to Arkansas, and I had to do a dialectical journal, which is basically a conversation with a book, where I put a quote from the book and my thoughts about it. And that was all well and good for like the first third of the book. Like, cool, yeah, I have thoughts, here we go, cool. And then we get to where the book is different than the movie. See, in the movie, they kind of gloss over the family tragedy. The book does not. The book goes into excruciating detail about the big family tragedy, how it felt for the little boy to be handled in ways that no child should be. And things were done to him that should not be done to anybody against their will, child, adult, anything. And if you don't get my drift, be glad. And if you do, don't read the book. I would also like to point out that at the time I was assigned to read this book, I was 15 years old, and I had just turned 15 years old. And I was a very, very sheltered 15. I knew nothing. I knew, like, the basics of how reproduction worked, but I had not done anything more than kiss a boy. I was extremely sheltered. I'd had one boyfriend in my life. Like, I knew such things existed, but not details. I knew my friend. Actually, this was before I even knew Jeff was gay, so I didn't know details about, like, I knew homosexuality existed, but I didn't know details about how it was practiced, and I sure as hell didn't know anything about it being done by force to somebody who did not want it done. Nor did I want to know these things at 15. I was already fairly upset that we had to read a book the year before that talked about orgy porgies. And that's not my word for it, that's what the book called it. And various other things that went on in a post-apocalyptic society that, I'm sorry, 14-year-olds didn't need to know. 15-year-old, like, I feel like at my high school there was too much of a focus on adult topics in literature. And I know that's a thing. You have to have great tragedies to teach lessons. Like, I get that. I've taught AP since then, but I've made sure to use age-appropriate books. And I do not feel that Prince of Tides was an age-appropriate book for me. And I went in, and I had this very strong opinion at 14 years old, that this was not the right book for me, and that I should not have been made to read this. And my other options were not better. Like, there was not an age-appropriate book in the bundle. And so I said this, and I expressed my disappointment at such meager offerings that did not consider that maybe, just maybe, young people did not wish to read these things, and there had to be other options. And my professor took it extremely personally and decided that I just didn't want to do the assignment. Forgetting the fact that I did read the whole damn book. I did write the whole essay and analyze it and did everything she asked. But I did it from a very different perspective than she wanted me to have. And the lesson I got out of it was not the lesson she thought the book should be teaching. The lesson I got out of it was, I don't even remember, but it was very much from a Christian perspective. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with the Christian perspective. As a non-Christian today, I still stand by, if the Prince of Tides was assigned to my son, my 14-year-old son, the same age, well, he's about to be 15. So he's pretty much the same age I was when I read that, I would be at that school throwing a hissy fit. I'll be damned if my kid is going to read that book at this age. No. And, yeah. So even though I did everything that was asked of me, because I did it from a perspective she didn't believe was valid, not that she didn't believe Christianity was valid, but she didn't believe that criticizing the book as a young adult's book, which it's not meant to be, was an acceptable way to do my analytical essay. Well, you assigned it as young adult book because I am a young adult in reading terms. So explain to me how that's, like, as to this day, it pisses me off that she graded me down so much because I did not feel it was an appropriate book to have to study. And her argument was, you could have picked any of the other books. Well, no, I couldn't. One, I'd already tried to prepare for Owen Meany. It was just as bad. And two, I was on vacation in rural Arkansas. I had to have the book picked before we left because we were gone for a month and we would have gotten back with about 3 weeks before school started. Do you want me to wait till 3 weeks before school started? And there was not a bookstore in the small town that we went to. And I explained these things to her. And she's like, well, this still isn't acceptable. I'm like, well, beg to disagree. But unfortunately, me agreeing or disagreeing had absolutely nothing to do with what grade I was going to receive on that assignment. And I got a D. Which, since this was like 25% of my grade, pretty much guaranteed I was going to get a B or C in the class. And the fact that she completely disregarded my not lazy but logical reasoning why I had done the assignment the way I had, told me, and she did the same thing to my parents. Like, my parents went in for a conference with her about this, and she told them that they were bad parents, basically, for letting me get away with this and without punishment. And my dad was like, oh no, not only am I not punishing her, I'm proud of her because I completely agree with her. That book wasn't appropriate for her. And basically the teacher said, oh well, this is the grade she's getting. There was no way I was going to get higher than a B- for that semester. There was no possible way. Which still would have been an A in the system, because AP classes are graded 1 point higher. So if you get an A in an AP class, it counts as 5 points, not 4. That's just how my school works. I don't know if it's standard across the world. Using my Lorella blush and highlighter palette. My eyeshadow is Lorella as well. We're going very Lorella today. So my parents and I had a conversation, and we decided that this year, at least, AP was not the right place for me. And AP stands for Advanced Placement. And I had never been so happy in my life to hear that, because my school was starting something new called the Performing Arts Core. And basically, it wasn't AP, but it was designed for kids who did choir and band and theater, and the major assignments and such as that would be designed around our competition and performance sessions. So, to me, hallelujah, somebody finally heard our pleas. And when I was in Tech Week for a show, I wouldn't have a major paper due at the same time. Yay. And that sounded awesome and amazing, and it was still a college prep class. So it still was going to be preparing me for school. And I found that a whole hell of a lot better option than AP. Even if I didn't get college credit for it, I was totally fine with that. Especially if it meant no summer assignments, which it did. So I switched over into that. Well, I'm too smart for my own good in some ways. I'm very, very focused and very, very... I accomplish my task quickly when I put my mind to it. And I knew that, which means I had no problem procrastinating an assignment I didn't want to do until the night before it was due, because in college prep, I knew for damn certain I could whip out at least a B project, if not an A project, in one night. And if I wasn't into the assignment, that's generally what I did. And I kept good enough grades where I always had an A or B in the class. But if I really, really hated an assignment or hated a book, I didn't read it. Didn't do it. I'd half-ass something to turn in. And I kept a 3.8 GPA throughout high school by doing this shit. And I thought I was, super smart. Because look what I got away with, right? Right? Yeah, not right. Not right at all. That was dumb. Don't do that. Even if you are smart enough to get away with that shit, don't do it. Because here's the real secret they don't tell you about high school. It's not necessarily the knowledge. I don't need to know a damn word that is in any of those books that I read in English in high school. Not a one of them made a damn bit of difference. What did was learning how to schedule my work, learning how to plan ahead, and learning how to be an aggressive student. And I missed all those lessons because I thought I was so smart. So then I get to college, right? Which, if high school was such a breeze, college should be a breeze, right? It was not. Not at all. I struggled. Oh, did I struggle. The first semester was fine because I was so jazzed to be in college. And I was so busy that I didn't have the option to procrastinate. My first year at college, I did tech for 13 shows. That's a lot. That is more than usual. Generally, most high school tech students will do tech for 2, maybe 3. 13! Because I was the only technical theater scholarship recipient that year. And I was only the second ever to get a tech scholarship. Wasn't really something my college focused on. That's fine. So I didn't have any, free time, really. I had to do my homework every second I had free. Because every other second was spent in the theater. And I knew that I was not going to have free time later on to do this. Then I get to my sophomore year. And all of a sudden, my sophomore year, I have a boyfriend. I have friends. And I had backed off the theater a little bit. So instead of doing 13 plays, I only did 5. Which means I had more free time. Which in theory should mean, yay, I have more time to do my homework. In reality, it meant I thought I had time to procrastinate. Spoiler, I did not. And college work is much more college professors know when you bullshitted your way through an essay. They just know. So there wasn't any, I can write this paper at the last minute and still get an A or a B. No, when I wrote papers at the last minute, I got D's and F's. Because they weren't 3-page analytical papers where I just had to throw in a few smart phrases and I'm good. They were 10 to 20-page analytical essays that required research at the library because online wasn't much of a thing back then. And making connections between different authors and considering motivation and motifs and. And it was not something I could crank out in 30 minutes or less and get away with it. Not that I didn't know how to do those things. They're just not things that can be done that fast. Not by me at the time anyways. Today, I was an English teacher. I can write any essay today a lot faster than I could back then. I know more, I've done more, I've learned more. So, yeah, basically, I flunked my second year of college. Not like completely flunked, but like my GPA went from a 4.0 my first semester to a 1.8 my fourth. That's a fairly significant drop. I also, during this time, made the genius decisions to not take any science or math classes. Yes, I needed them to graduate, but I wasn't interested in that. I instead filled my extra time with more theater classes and put off those gen eds till later. This would come back to bite me in the ass. My fifth semester of college, which was my first junior semester, I caught mono from my roommate. No, we did not make out. She was immune to it because she'd had it in high school, but she brought it home from her boyfriend from college, and she still had the bug in her, and it was active, but it wasn't affecting her. And we were roommates in college. We shared drinks all the time, and we shared a room, and it wasn't a big deal for me to grab her soda and have a drink, especially because she bought some really cool weird sodas, and so did I, and so we trade, because there was a specialty grocery store across the street from the college that sold sodas from around the world and things like that. So we'd always be trying stuff. And her parents owned a natural food store, and she was a lifelong vegetarian, so she had all kinds of different foods that I hadn't experienced in my life. So we were constantly sharing forks and spoons and stuff, and it wasn't that big a deal until I got mono from her. And that I just wanted to do nothing but sleep for 2 months. And by the time I slept for 2 months, I had missed 2 months of classes because at no point did I bother telling anyone other than my parents, I have mono. I also had a miscarriage over that summer, and I was severely depressed. And yeah. I did at one point try to go to the campus pastor because, oh yeah, this was a Christian school. And I was telling him all the things I was going through, and his response was, well, people like you exist to be a warning for others. Like, wow. So my entire life purpose is to fail so badly that other people don't. Thanks, preacher man. After that first semester of my junior year, I finally, crying, came out to my parents that, look, there's going to be a lot of F's on my report card, and I am going to be on academic probation. And by my roommate, because I had moved out of the 2-bedroom apartment I was sharing with the 3 girls who were my friends, because conflict, and moved into a 1-bedroom apartment that I shared with a girl I didn't even know, who was trying to rebuild a relationship with her father, who had molested her as a child. So I did not feel safe in that room anytime her father was over, which was quite a lot because, yeah. So I confessed all this to my parents, and I was crying, and I'm like, I can't do this. I don't want to be there. I don't know what I've done. I've just screwed up my life so bad, nothing is going to work. And they said, okay, here's the plan. We're going to withdraw you from college. You're going to come home. You're going to take some classes at the local community college and get a job. And we're going to figure out what's going on. And once everything is straightened out, then we'll go back to college. And I'm like, okay, sounds like a plan. I decided to take classes at the community college that was right next door to the college I had been going to, so that I could still stay close to some of the friends that I had kept. Turns out I did not really I kept close to 2 people. And I don't talk to either of the 2 of them anymore. I haven't talked to them in years. I hope they're both doing well, Paul and Ben, but no, I didn't stay close to anybody in that school really. Because it came out that I had had a miscarriage and that I was promiscuous. I slept with one person. One person. That's it. I was not promiscuous. I slept with one person, and we were in a long-term committed relationship. But whatever. It was a Christian school. So I made new friends at this community college, and these new friends worked at Disney. At least a couple of them did. So they used their sign-in to get us in one day. So we all went to Disney after our one class that was at like 8 or 9 in the morning. And I came home that night to my parents and I was laughing and I was so full of life and enjoying things. And they were so excited because it had been so long since I had been laughing and loving. And my mom had been really worried because I was taking one like actual class, which was accounting, and everything else I was taking was choir and theater. But I was enrolled and I was taking classes, and that was the agreement. I would take classes and get a job. I had not found a job yet, but I was taking classes. And my parents were so excited to see me so full of joy, they bought me a Disney season pass, which was awesome. And so now I could go whenever the girls that worked there wanted to go. And that was so amazing. And, you know, we'd go once or twice a week after class. And I was keeping up with my classes, no problem at this point, because there really was only one. And I was happy. For the first time since high school, I was happy on the surface. It was very much on the surface, but still, it was an improvement, okay? It was a big improvement. And then one of my friends said, hey, you guys should apply to work there. And I thought, well, I'm supposed to get a job, so sure, why not? That would be a dream. And I got hired. And it was a dream. And it changed my life. And the whole fake it till you make it is true, because when you're a cast member at Disney, you're happy to be there all the time. And if you're not, fake it. And I genuinely loved my 11 months working there. I loved my job. I made friends. I had adventures. I watched it snow pretty much every night because at Christmas time, Disney does the whole snow thing. And I would get off work at 9:45 and haul ass to get into the main park because I worked at California Adventure. And I would haul ass over to the Disneyland park and stand at the end of Main Street as the snow starts falling down during the big fireworks finale. And I would cry my ass off, and then I would walk the 2 miles to my car because I parked in the back lot of the California Adventure area, which was really freaking far. So yeah. I was getting a lot of exercise then. And by the way, still not losing weight. It's almost like it's not. Anyways, whatever. Back off. Don't get off on that trend yet. So yeah, I ended up going pretty much full time at Disney and completely dropping out of college. And my parents didn't say a damn word because I was happy. I was so happy. And, I will go into more detail about stories when I was working there because, yes, I have tons of stories. But that is how the Prince of Tides book caused me to work for Disney. I said this was a giveaway video. Let's find something cool to give away, shall we? Move the heavy stuff off of my giveaway box. Since you've listened to me wax nostalgic for so long, let's see. Let's reach in. Ooh, a box. I'm not doing that box because I just added a setting spray, and that's a setting spray. What's this? It's something round. Ooh, okay. So today we are adding Juvia's Place loose highlighter in the shade Nefertiti. It is a beautiful gold powdered highlighter. Love it. This is going in the giveaway for this month. Juvia's Place is another fabulous company, and they are in Sephora if you are looking for them, but I prefer to buy online. They have better deals online. So far we have a setting spray from Glamlight, we have Juvia's Place highlighter, and we have a keychain. If you would like to enter this, all you need to do is click the link below and fill out the form. It's going to ask you some very basic information. It's going to ask you for a link to your YouTube channel so that I can see that you follow me, because you have to be following me to win. And you have to be following me when I draw it, not just today. You have to stay following me until at least Black Friday, because that's when this video is going up, and that's when I will check. And there are a few very simple rules. One, you have to be 18 years or older to enter. I'm sorry, if you're under 18, find somebody who's over 18, make them follow me, have them enter, and then y'all can split the price however you want to. but this is for your protection and mine. I do sometimes put skincare in there, and there is some skincare that should not be used on people under 18, and this just makes my life easier. Just nobody can sue me 18 and up. Number 2, 1 entry per household. Not per person, per household. So if you and your cousin are roommates and you both want to enter, pick one person's name and split the prize. If multiple people with same location enter, I do figure it out eventually, and you both will be banned from this and all future giveaways because it has happened before. The third rule, you pretty much just have to say what video you were watching. This is Self-Care Sunday. And what did I add to the giveaway? I added highlighter powder or Juvia's Place, or just something that tells me, you know, this is the video. You can enter once per video where I add something to the giveaway. So right now there are 3 videos up that you can enter. The last thing isn't really a rule, but it's kind of a rule. If you do something against the spirit of this giveaway, and I have to make a new rule to stop people from doing that, you are banned from this and all future giveaways. Don't make this more complicated than it is. Last giveaway, I had 58 entries, and many of those were multiple entries for one person. Like, because people watch multiple videos and enter multiple times, like they're allowed to, and that's totally fine. So the odds, at worst, were 1 in 58. At best, we're like 10 in 58. So show me another giveaway that's valued at $200 to $300 that has that good at odds. And I show my wheelie spinning and picking the name, like I do it all legit. I very rarely am giving away stuff that I got for free. This is usually stuff that I bought with my own money. And like when I open a box, like I am opening the Allure box this month. Just found that out because there was a deal I couldn't pass up. I paid for it. And one of those items is going in the giveaway. So this is stuff I bought with my money. Don't abuse the system. It's that simple. Anyways, I appreciate y'all watching. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, I am a Lorella affiliate. I don't always use their makeup, but I did a lot of it today. And I have their link like in the description, as well as a code Nightingale that will save you 10%. I have heard through the grapevine they have some really cool stuff coming out this month. I also highly recommend their subscription box. It costs like $40 a month, and you get so much stuff in it, and it's not your normal subscription box. Like, you're gonna get some makeup stuff, but you're also going to get like light up mirrors and like a mirror for your car that has lights on it. And I've gotten a travel set, like a 36-piece travel makeup set in a $40 subscription box, as well as makeup exclusive palettes, all the good stuff. It is one of the best makeup subscription boxes on the market, and yes, the 10% off works on your first box only. After that, it will go back up, but check them out. They're awesome, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would support the channel, because that's what lets me do all of this good stuff, including Advent season. And in December, every Advent calendar I open, one item is going in the giveaway, and somebody is getting an Advent calendar custom made from me that they're going to get in January. But that's okay. It'll be after Advent calendar. I don't know. It's a thing. If you don't believe me, go talk to Alexandria Ryan, who's one of my favorite YouTubers. She's like listening to your best friend, even though she doesn't know who you are. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Happy Sunday. Do something to take care of yourself today. Bye, guys.